For a critical night last night as OKC looking to sort of step on the throat after just a no-show performance for them in Game 3. Well, there was none of that going on here. Marcus, how about SGA right from the jump?
Yeah, SGA got going early, man, and you could tell the difference between Game 3 and Game 4. He made sure he established his rhythm early. He got Jalen Williams a couple open shots, and he moved the ball. He played a complete game early on.
Look at him inside and outside and taking it strong. He had 21 at the half. Thunder would lead by 8 at halftime. Anthony Edwards, meanwhile, a quiet night. 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. His team down by 9. Makes that 3. It was his only made 3 of the night, but the T-Wolves are down just 6. They got a big night off their bench, Markieff, including Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, for sure. With Ant not really being as super aggressive as he was, they needed the bench to step up. I think they had 64 points.
Correct.
In the game, and this is the best game they played this entire series.
But every time there was a question, SGA had an answer. He had 40 points in this game. And then look at this. Someone tell me how he makes this play. Markieff, how does he make that pass?
Man, it was unbelievable. Him and Jalen has been on the same accord since Jalen stepped in the league. Jalen played extremely well last night, made 2 big threes late in the game, and he was the catalyst of winning this game.
Jalen had 34 in the game last night. Here we go, 30 seconds to play. Down by 5, Minnesota offensive rebound. Jaden McDaniels in the corner for 3. Now it's a 2-point game, 3.5 seconds left. Timberwolves, so much on the line, down by 3. So Ant-Man makes the first. He's got to miss the second on purpose. OKC scramble for the rebound. We're going to throw it away. Wait, a fan is going to catch it.
Yeah.
And take a look at the clock. If the fan just ducks, the game is over. Instead, there's time left on the clock, and would they get a chance? No, they would not. Julius Randle throws it up, and like everything else he threw up last night, it doesn't go anywhere good. SGA and company wind up holding on for the huge road win, and they take control of the series. And it was a Charles Dickens kind of night. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. For SGA, a 40-point near triple-double, led or co-led both teams in points, rebounds, and assists. On the other side, Ant-Man, 16 points, his second fewest in a game this postseason, his fewest in a loss. Here he was after the game.
I don't look at it like I struggled or he struggled. They had a good game plan, making us get off the ball. Especially for me, man, it was super in the gaps. I made the right play all night, so I don't really look at it like I struggled. I didn't get enough shots to say I struggled, so that might be how you guys look at it. But yeah, I didn't struggle at all. I made the right play.
So interesting comments from him. And Big Perk, I'm just going to read the numbers without, looking to give an opinion on it necessarily. He was 5 of 13 from the floor, 1 of 7 from three-point range, 6 assists, 5 turnovers. Big Perk, Anthony Edwards says he didn't feel like he struggled. What did you think?
He didn't. He didn't struggle. Greeny, they scored 126 points in regulation. Mm-hmm. They shot 51% from the field and 43% from 3. They defense struggled. That's what struggled. I mean, listen, we're talking about you're going against a squad in the Oklahoma City Thunder that's one of the best defensive teams in the history of the NBA. Okay, so what they did was they made Anthony Edwards a decision maker. That's why Dante had wide open threes in the corner. Jay McDaniels was wide open. Mike Conley, he made the right play. They just couldn't get stops. When you score 126 points, it's not about scoring no more. They couldn't slow down the Oklahoma City Thunder. The big 3, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and SGA had it their way. And can somebody answer this question for me?
Yeah.
SGA is the best perimeter player in the league. He led the league in scoring. He's averaging 31 in this series. Coach Finch, how about sending a double team at him all night long, from the first quarter through the fourth quarter? I was so tired of watching him being able to isolate Rudy until Rudy had to go sit down. How many times are you going to let this man play one-on-one basketball? He is the MVP. He is the MVP, and he went and gave you a 40-piece wing dinner all flats last night.
The best way. I could see you nodding your head, Marcus, along as he was talking about that. We focus sometimes on the offense, but the defensive side, did Minnesota miss it last night?
I mean, yeah, I got to agree with Perk on, the sense of not double-teaming SGA. But let's be frank, SGA came out and wasn't accepting anything. He was aggressive from the jump ball. He was on the ball. He was getting guys shots, but he wasn't accepting anyway. They had his cousin on him, and I know that the cookouts was going to be crazy this year because he was frying him, right? So I understand, like, it's a great take. Like, he was definitely supposed to be double teamed sometimes, but I got to go back to Ant-Man. Like, I understand they did a great job. They forced him to make passes. That's what they want. At some point, though, you have to have a rhythm, and that's what the part I'm talking about. You cannot take 2 shots in the first half. Your rhythm for the rest of the game is almost shot, and I agree that OKC probably wanted him to pass it. And the reason why, because it comes down in the fourth quarter and you don't have the rhythm and they need a basket at the end of the game, he didn't take enough shots to be able to get into that mode.
All right, I like it. So we have 2 different conversations going at once here. Markieff, let me go back to the point that Perk made because it's sort of new to the conversation. We've seen so much, this blitzing is sort of been such a huge part of the conversation in these NBA playoffs. Did the Timberwolves not do enough last night to make Shai Gilgeous-Alexander uncomfortable?
No, they didn't, and I agree with Perk on that. And this takes me back to the Lakers Minnesota series earlier in the playoffs.
Yeah, near and dear to your heart.
Near and dear, when we was playing against Ant-Man. And I remember being in Minnesota, game 4, and he said we were up 12 points going into the fourth quarter. The only way we can lose this game is Ant-Man goes crazy. And we allowed them to by not sending doubles. And it's the same thing that happened in this game. SGA, I think he had 14 in the fourth quarter. Him, Chet, and Jalen Williams scored 90% of their points in the fourth quarter. I'm not letting SGA go against Gobert on my team and play Gobert off the court. It's the same as when Luka was going against Gobert and he played him off the court. That's unacceptable.
Let me hear from Windy on all this. Windman, go.
Well, it is interesting. In the last game that these teams played in the regular season, Chris Finch had his team make a 20-point comeback playing a triangle and 2. I came on the show last week talking about wondering if we would see the triangle in 2. What they basically did was they trapped Shai, forced the ball out of his hands. The Thunder were not ready for it, and it led to a huge comeback. Now, it's not something you play all the time, but it's not something that the Wolves have gone to. In fact, when they've played zone in this series, Shai has pretty much torn him up because he's been able to get to that mid-range. But I really think that the Thunder's defense the Wolves' defense was technically good enough yesterday, but they just allowed 19 offensive rebounds. They got enough stops to win the game, but they couldn't complete the play. They couldn't get the rebound. You add to the fact they have 23 turnovers. The pathway for the Wolves to win the game is there, but the Thunder do what they do, get extra possessions. That's one of the reasons they're so hard to beat.
Perk, jump back in.
Look, before game 3, I talked to 3 championship coaches. Okay, one of them I'm allowed to say on TV, and it's Ty Lue. I asked Ty Lue, I called Ty Lue, I said, hey, man, what would you do? What would your game plan be against SGA? He said, man, I'd trap him soon as he get off the car or the bus. Ain't no way he gonna beat me. And he's right. And so, look, again, we have to give a lot of credit to this Thunder team. Coach Dagnall, he coached his behind off. And Greeny, I'm gonna tell you, hey, look, I see get up, you go on the road sometimes. You might need to bring your behind on the road to the NBA Finals and witness this greatness because you have to see this Thunder defense up close in person. You have to see Luke Dortz up close in person. You have to see the specialists and Alex Caruso up close in person, who, by the way, plays 33 minutes and it was impactful all across the board. Coach Dagnall went to that small ball. He moves Chet at the 5, which created more spacing for SGA and J-Dub to go isolation, and it was a wrap from there.
Yeah, take us to the finals. I'm all in. I mean, you get no complaints. You get no complaints out of me. I'm all in. And actually, Perk, you brought me to where I wanted to go anyway. I'm not going to play the sound here, guys, because we have so much good perspective from our group. But after the game, what really struck me, Perk, more than anything else, at one point, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pointed out, look, I'm 26. And I'm the elder statesman of this group. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren are 24 and 23. The 3 of them combined for 95 points last night. I did an essay last week, Perk, saying the era of the super team is done. But the reality is there's a loophole. If you create one naturally, organically, if you draft the right guys, you can do it. Have they done it? Is this just the beginning of something very special that we're going to see for the next, 5 to 7 years in OKC?
You damn right, and they're not going anywhere. And you know the crazy part? Sam Presti have so many draft picks, but here's the thing, right? You look at their bench. You look at a guy like Cason Wallace, right? When it's time for guys to re-sign, and you might have to move on from a Lou Dortz because I believe he's on like an $80 million contract. All of a sudden, it's plug and replace because Cason Wallace come in and he could make a difference as well. Now, here's the thing. Is a guy like SGA going to sacrifice like a guy like Big Body Brunson did for the New York Knicks to make sure that you're able to keep the team together? That's what it comes down to. Or he's going to go get that $380 million. That's going to be a big decision in itself.
Whitman, just give me a quick look at OKC's future, because I'm fascinated by this, having just made the case that we have seen the last NBA dynasty, and now all of a sudden here I am a week later saying I'm looking at the next one.
The key to that happening is that these big three are great enough to win championships. That's the thing. They can restock the role players around them. What we're seeing in this postseason, and particularly this series, is the answer may be yes.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Keep them down, try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here,